Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're all doing well, and welcome back to this series that's focused on IB Business Management. Today, our chapter is 1.3 from Business Management. Sorry for the look, I just showered recently, but we're all good. Anyway, if you guys have not seen the other videos, I've already done some of the previous chapters from Business Management. A link in the description to a playlist that I will just keep going. I'm going to do every chapter, standard and high, from business management. Just quick explanations, describing, summarizing, analyzing each chapter so that you guys can be prepared for the exams in May. Anyway, without wasting any more time, we'll get right into it. So the chapter for today is 1.3, organizational objectives. This is a pretty foundational chapter, so we've already gotten like the basic blocks that 1.1 and 1.2 provided us, and this is just taking it another level up. So to start, it deals with a couple concepts. They're a bit varied, but there is some connection between them. To start, so it deals with the vision statement and the mission statement. These are foundational parts of a business. So this is also part of, business plan, which is a 1.1 kind of idea of, you have to establish what is your business, what do you want to do. That's what the vision and mission statement do. So the vision is much broader. It is a phrase, one sentence. What you're saying is what the goal of your business is going to be. In some cases, it's quite literally to make the world a safer place. Basically, you're just saying what is the broad goal of your business? What do you eventually want to get to? And this is really focused on the future of, like, with everything going correctly, you're going to get to this point. Again, very simple. The mission statement. Now, it's very easy for you to mix up vision and mission statement. It's something that a lot of people, I deal with it often. A mission statement is the purpose of the business and what it is. So the vision statement's very general, very idyllic. Mission statement's more concrete. It's longer. And it also explains how are you going to be getting to what you described in the vision statement. All right, vision statement, it's vision. It's the big idea. Mission, think of the mission as like a task, like a mission in a video game, right? It's your action of how are you getting to that vision. It's the idea, the more concrete details of what is the business, what's its purpose, and how are you getting to that vision that you've established in your vision statement. So those are just the basic foundational parts right at the beginning of this chapter. Then we get into the second part, which is aims, objectives, strategies, and tactics. This is all kind of more foundational parts, again, of how a business, sets itself up. Aims and objectives are both the same. They're both goals. The only difference is aims are long-term, objectives are short-term. Think of aims as they're just more of like a general thing of like, I aim to do this thing. Objective is a very concrete thing. It's very, businessy and specific. And so that's what you're dealing with. Aim is all the way down there. Objective is just, shorter term. Strategies and tactics are both similar words. They're just saying the methods that you're going to use. Strategies are more general. Tactics are more specific of how you're going to be getting to these things. But yeah, strategies and tactics are pretty much synonyms. In this case, just how you're going to get to those objectives and aims that you've set up for yourself. And now these goals, so aims and objectives, can be different. And on each level of the company, they're going to be set up. They're also set up for, so that we're talking the broad ones, level of a department, level of a certain, employee even. They're all different. They work on all levels of the business, big scale, small scale, certain locations, the whole corporation. It really is very varied. And the thing is, these objectives are by no means set in stone. They can change, and they change due to certain circumstances. And as is typical in business management, the circumstances change due to two types of factors, internal and external. I think these are the words you're going to have burned into your memory by the end of this business management course. Internal, external factors, the biggest, most important things. Internal factors. So what are these? There's quite literally a list that I got in the notes here, and I'm just going to read that out because there's hardly any other explanation you can give. It's just a list. Corporate culture. That's to say, what is the system this company uses to run itself? That's something that will be elaborated on further on in the chapter. Corporate culture. What's the size of the business? How long has the business been around? What's the financial status? Is it making money? Is it breaking even? Is it losing money? Are the investors, are they risk averse or in favor of risk? That's an important one. Making your decisions based on, are investors willing to risk a bit their money, or do they want a safe investment? because in that case, you have to make decisions that will appease them or they will pull out. And then finally, what type of business is it? Now, this is a key part of 1.2. Is it public or private? If it's public, the goal is to serve. That means that you need to change your objectives to make sure you're always achieving those goals. And if you're not achieving that goal, that broad mission, you have to change them. And if you're private, it's to make money. It's the profit. If you're not making profit, you got to change your objectives. So these are all internal factors that can cause you to change your objectives. If you see that one of these things, like, oh, the business has suddenly expanded. Oh, the business is really getting kind of old. These objectives aren't good anymore. They were good for young business, but for the old business or more developed one, or we weren't making money, now we are making money. Okay, well, now we have to change our objectives, based on the fact that we do have money. So these are all things that are affecting. On the other end, external factors. We have the state of the company. We're talking the public size. Our customers approving of it, things like that. Government constraints. For instance, the government could not allow the company to expand in a certain way that it wishes to expand. Say the company is getting close to monopoly. Well, then it could all of a sudden, get in there and trust bust. I know it's like going back to, the 20th century, but that kind of thing of the government regulating the business, not permitting them to do certain things. Those are going to change the objectives of the business. If they now know that they can't go into certain areas they might have wanted to go into. Furthermore, the presence and power of pressure groups. If your company is doing certain things that there are pressure groups that are really putting a lot of pressure on you, like say, for instance, you are an oil and gas provider, and now you're dealing with environmental groups. Those environmental groups are turning customers away from you. Well, then you got to start changing your practices. Or if you have a pressure group coming after you for ethical concerns, well, now you have to change your practices ethically so that those pressure groups will get off your back, and so that you can regain the trust of your customers. And so that's an important thing as well. That can change your objectives that need to appease or to get these pressure groups off your back. Then we have the idea of corporate social responsibility. So we've left internal and external factors. That's all behind us. Corporate social responsibility. This actually goes in hand pretty well with the final point I just made, though, because corporate social responsibility is basically a company taking into account the interests of society in the decisions. So they're not just focused on their bottom line at this point. They're trying to do something that is going to have a positive impact on society, and they're really thinking about what impacts are their actions going to have on their stakeholders. So their customers, their suppliers, etc. This is where we get into corporate ethics. And there are companies that abort this in different ways, some that really don't take it into account, some that do. But yeah, this is really just a fancy way of saying it's also abbreviated corporate social responsibility, CSR. You might see that in some exams. But CSR, corporate social responsibility, just means not being an a-hole. Basically, it's just behaving in a logical way, is following an ethical code, and trying to take into account your actions and their impact on the broader society, not just making money. And that has advantages. It improves the corporate image. It improves, employee morale. However, it also can have disadvantages because it is inefficient. It means you're not focused on making money anymore. You're focused on other things to go along with it, which means it can have some disadvantages. I think a very applicable case of this is, so this year's case study, because as you guys remember, paper 1 is a case study. And the case study deals with, there's a company, SVT, Scandvig Terra PLC, or STV. I don't remember very well the acronym, but the point is, so this company is basically a water purification company that's expanded to a bunch of different things. And the final part of the case study is they have a corporate social responsibility project, which is that they send their employees to provide free labor to less economically developed countries. That's just a way of them, improving their image, providing things. But of course, it is a bit of a financial sink because they're paying their employees' salaries while their employees are getting free labor in these other countries. Now, it does provide benefits. It provides a good corporate image for them. And one of their employees, upon going there, saw a need for water filters in these countries. And sorry, I am getting over a bit of a cold, so I apologize. Anyway, this employee comes back to their headquarters in Europe, and they start a project to create a water filter. They end up with the WF-15, which ends up becoming a product that is kind of a crux of the case study of, they're able to start providing a service to these less economically developed countries. But anyway, so corporate social responsibility has benefits, but also doesn't. It really depends. All right, and then the final part of this chapter, there's two things left, and they're both business tools. And again, these are key parts because you really need these tools in the exams. They often ask you to use them to analyze either the case study or various parts of questions. All right, so the first one is SWOT analysis. This is a very simple one. It's just a qualitative analysis of a business. And it is called a SWOT analysis because it's made up of 4 parts. It's an acronym. This is typically used alongside the steeple analysis, which that's part of a different chapter and will be described at a later date. But basically the idea is to identify opportunities and threats for the company. So what does the SWOT analysis do? Well, you have it again split into those famous 2 parts, internal, external factors. Strengths, weaknesses are the internal, external opportunities and threats. Strengths, they're all very straightforward as the names indicate. Strengths are good qualities of the business, things that are strong. Weaknesses are things that are going against the business, things that it doesn't do well, things that create problems and conflict within the business. Opportunities are ways the business could expand, ways the business can create new ventures and other things like that. Threats are things like competition, things that are going against the business, things that could harm its profitability and it accomplishing its vision and mission statements that it's created. So again, these are all qualitative. You can look up, if you need examples, there are SWOT analysis of all kinds of businesses out there. Probably also, if you've done the internal assessments by now, this is a very, very common one to use in an internal assessment because it's very easy to apply in pretty much any situation. I also recommend it in the exams. Frankly, it's very easy to apply it to, make a SWOT analysis, talk about what are the strengths, weaknesses, threats, opportunities, what are you seeing here? The other tool is the Ansoff matrix. Now, this is a bit more objective and a bit more technical. Basically, the Ansoff matrix is an analysis tool to determine growth strategy based on a combination of products and marketing. So it's set on this type of graph. All right, it's typically put in a box. You can look at the box online, but it's split into basically you have quadrants. All right, so up here you have, let's say, the existing products, new products. Then you have existing markets, new markets. And so then you have boxes. All right, so you have one that you have an existing product and an existing market. You have a new product and an existing market. You have a new market with your existing product, or you're having a new product and a new market. So that means, is your company going to try to keep its same products and get into new markets, stay in the same market, or is it going to make a new product? And then is it going to try to stay in the same market or expand to a new one? So this can manifest itself in a lot of ways, has a lot of results. Now, if you are taking an existing product and go into an existing market, this is known as market penetration and is seen as very low risk. This basically just means you're trying to increase your market share, which again, this we'll get to in a separate chapter. But to increase market share is basically the percentage that you hold in a market. So say you're a car company, what percentage of car sales is your company accounting for? If your company accounts for 5%, well, with market penetration, you're saying, all right, we want to be 15% of the overall car market. How can we do that? There's a bunch of different strategies you can use. Increase your promotion, change your prices, maybe lower your prices, improve your products. However, you're also going to deal with intense competition because you're already in this market. You're established here. So it provides that benefit of you're already there, you know how to get around, you can just make some changes, you already have some safety. However, you're also dealing with the same competition and the same problems. You're not breaking out anywhere. Now, let's say you're going to stay in your same market, but you're going to try a new product. This is known as product development medium risk. This basically means you're innovating, you're trying to create new products, focusing on customer needs, you're trying to expand, you're trying to go outside of what you've already done. This means, let's say you're in the car market, you have a certain type of, say you make trucks, and now you're like, you know what, we're going to make convertibles. You're expanding, you're creating this new technology, you're capitalizing on technology. However, it is medium risk. It is classified that way because it's possible that consumers will not like this new product. All right. So, all right, now we've covered this kind of top part of the chart, right? Existing markets, part of the chart. We've covered market penetration, which is with an existing product. And now with a new product, product development. So same market, new product. Now let's move to the bottom of this chart. So we have a new market. So let's start with existing product in a new market. This just means this is also medium risk strategy. You're trying to get into a new market. So you're making a new distribution channel, or you're moving into a new country or a new part of the country. So expanding geographically, you're trying to attract new members or new customers to come in. The risk here is that new customers may not like this new product. So let's say you have a car, and now all of a sudden you're trying to go into a different kind of market. Again, it's kind of hard to do. It has to be a market that has at least some, similarity, some kind of coordination with the original market. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Like, you can't sell a car in a food market. You know what I'm saying? And this is the same problem you do with product development. I didn't mention this, but product development or market development, you're dealing with the same problem of the customers may not just like it. In one case, it's that customers might not like a new product in an existing market. In this case, it's new customers might not like your existing product. They might not like it. And then so the final part of the Ansoff matrix is diversification. So this is new product, new market. Over here, this is the highest risk one. Although if successful, it is the one that reaps the most rewards, because you're trying to create this new market, basically say, here's a new market we've never gotten into with a new product that we've never tried. And so it helps to spread out the risk of the company. It helps to diversify. This is a really important one. I mean, that's why it's called diversification. But it creates a diverse product portfolio, because let's say right now you're a car company and you're like, you know what, we're going to try to get into the food market and we're going to make hamburgers. Well, that gives you a lot of safety, because right now, if you're just a car company, and let's say you stay with market penetration, well, all of a sudden, what if that market crashes, the car market? Well, then you are now SOL, because you don't have any backup plan. You don't have any diversification, and you don't have any kind of stability. However, if you're diverse, car market crashes, now you have hamburgers. And if your hamburgers stay safe, you can be okay. You can kind of recoup here, and you can keep going. However, the risk is also you're working in a market you don't understand, and you're working with a new product. So you're really taking a lot of risks. There's chances that the market doesn't work out for you. You can't really understand it, or the product just isn't resonating with customers. And there's two types of diversification. First, you can do related diversification. That's the same. Let's say you're McDonald's, right? And you're making your product, and then you decide we're going to make coffee. So make the McCafe. McCafe is related because it's still food, but it's also a different market because now it's coffee. We're talking pastries versus McDonald's, which traditionally was, ice cream and burgers and fries and chicken and that kind of thing. So it's moving into a new market, but they are connected, versus unrelated diversification. The example I gave, car to hamburger, nothing to do with each other. And those both can work. There are examples of both of them working. It really just depends how you apply it. Anyway, I'm sorry for going on for so long, but these tools really do require a lot of explanation, and they're very important to understand, because for both the internal assessment and the exams, you really need a good grasp, because when those questions come around, you're going to get a lot of points if you mention a tool in there, and if you can apply it correctly and properly analyze it. So it is really important to know them. But anyway, that is all for today. Thank you all for listening. I hope this has served you. And for me, it is nighttime, so I'm going to go ahead to bed. Have a fantastic night, day, afternoon, whatever the time may be, and thank you.